questions to ask throughout a campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on even deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch alongs to the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
Yo, good evening. Good evening. I tell you what, some interesting news has broken today, and funny enough, I don't mind it if it rouse up WILF for Wednesday night. I'm all for it. This is Eagle News, and here obviously JC and Dan. How you doing, guys?
Good, man.
Yeah, all good as well. You?
Yeah, I'm all right. Mad day at work today, but it's all good. But yeah, let's get straight into it. Reports saying that WILF has been offered 200k a week to stay with the club. He's already our highest earner. We'll get to my opinions on the amount in a minute. However, obviously, as we are all aware of, there's going to be ample interest from other clubs. So I'm just going to read an article from Daily Mail, and then we can really have a proper in-depth discussion about our thoughts and feelings regarding this contract offer. So, according to the Daily Mail, so it's the Mail line, exclusive. Crystal Palace star WILF Zaha receives huge offer worth $9 million a year from Saudi Arabian side Al-Ittihad, but Eagles hope to convince the winger into staying with lucrative 200 a week contract. Now, just for a bit of context, Al-Ittihad is currently managed by Nuno Espirito Santo, the former Wolves and Spurs boss. So obviously the Palace forward is out of contract in the summer and is considering his long-term future. Sportsmail understands Palace have offered Zaha the most lucrative deal in the history of the club, believed to be worth, inclusive of bonuses and other payments, close to 200 grand per week. However, interest in taking Zaha on a free transfer at the end of the season is building, though the winger is purely focused on finishing the campaign as strongly as he can ahead of making a final decision on his future. It emerged last week that Al Nassr, who currently signed Cristiano Ronaldo, were also interested in taking Zaha on a Bosman signing this summer. So, 200 grand a week. He's approaching, he's 30 years old now, isn't he? Was approaching 30. JC, thoughts on the actual offer of the contract and whether or not he will take it?
I think it just, I don't know. I'm very torn because in one hand you can say he's probably the last guy that actually knows what the club badge means and is worth, and that's something that I was complaining about a lot after the Man City game, that there was no heart in that game, there was no fight in that game. But that's one thing that Wilfried Zaha will show you. He will give you the heart. For example, with the Brighton game, he's going to be that one guy that we're all watching because we know that he knows he's the only guy that really cares about this fixture. But you have to look at it on the flip side to say 200 grand a week for a club like us is a financial nightmare. It really is. Honestly, him getting, what's he on now? 135, 125? Already, that is probably double most people at the club. I know Eze is on like 50, Elise is on like 45. Like he's doubling and a bit more of all of those guys. And if anything, those guys are the more valuable player right now. And they probably, I wouldn't say they deserve the money that Zaha's getting as well, but they're on that kind of skill level. And the thing is, I think if you give him that much money, it's going to cause a bit of unrest. Like Elise will say, well, look, I'm not putting up the same numbers, but I'm sure if I get played in the right position, I'll put up them kind of numbers. So why can't I get that kind of money? And then it'll just be carnage because everyone will want Zaha's money and feel like it's a bit unfair. I do feel like it's a bit of a rushed thing as well because I don't think they thought about it. I think they've just seen that these men have offered him $350 a week, and we're thinking, yeah, the only way that we can somehow afford anything anywhere near that is going to be 200, and we're going to absolutely kill ourselves just to fund that. And it's a terrible idea. Would I want to keep Zaha? Yeah. Do I want to keep Zaha on that kind of money? No. I think it just shows a heavy over-reliance on him. And with a contract like that, it just shows that we're not looking forwards. We're just looking at the present, aren't we? And I think that 200 grand a week for 2 years or something, I think it adds up to like £16 million. You could use that money now in one chunk and get a player to replace it. So it's a lot of money.
Dan?
I'm kind of thinking along the same lines as JC, to be fair. Do I want him to go? Obviously not. He's our talisman. I wouldn't say single-handedly, but he played a very big role in us getting promoted. Obviously scored those
back.
two.
It's 20 million over 2 years, so it's 10,400,000.
10 mil a year. Yeah. He's our talisman. Like those 2 goals he got against Brighton in the playoff semi-final, the penalty he won against Watford in the final. Like I think if it wasn't him, if it wasn't his name, I think there'll be less for a debate about it. I think 200 is too much. Assuming that it is going to be about 200 every single week. I mean, if it's say a base of 140, and then if he scores a goal, makes an assist or something, and that bumps him up to 200, then I would maybe rethink my stance. But if it is likely to be around about 200 every single week, I think it's too much. I think there's a few ways you got to look at this. One, like JC just said, that's 10 million quid a year. We could use that elsewhere. By comparison, it's not confirmed, but Sheikh Doucouré is supposedly on around about 50 grand a week. I know we'd have to pay transfer fees and stuff like that, but that's for Sheikh Doucouré's in terms of wages. And again, for a club like us, 200 grand a week is quite a serious amount of money. I looked at the figures earlier today. I got sent this. It's actually on the club's website. I didn't realise, but I actually got sent this earlier. At the moment, we spend 63% of our revenue on wages at the moment, which is actually pretty good. Last year it was down from like 80, 85 or something like that, and before that it was like 95. So in terms of the wages, all of that together and like this just kind of also just begs another question of why haven't we used that in other places? Like for example, I'm not saying like Semenyo's the answer, but like for example, Semenyo, like why aren't we paying that extra bit of money just to get him sort of thing? And we didn't. And another counter I saw, because I put this out on Twitter and it got a decent amount of comments and stuff. Another one of the counters was like, yeah, but we'd have to pay a transfer fee for Sheikh Doucouré, which is true. But in terms of FFP, that doesn't really matter because what matters is the amortization of the player. So say we got Sheikh Doucouré 20 mil on a 5-year contract, we're actually paying £4 million a year in amortization that goes towards FFP. So in effect, that doesn't really matter. So I think my point about being able to get 4 similar caliber players as Sheikh Doucouré, I think still kind of stands. And also, I think another angle to look at it is Zaha really worth 200k?
Yeah,
just
he's on a
anyway.
now, isn't he? Let's be real.
I see that's the thing.
Him,
like last season, and to be fair, even up until I would say about a quarter of the way through this season, like he hasn't scored since we played West Ham, and I think he's got 1 assist in that time as well. I know all of the players are playing pretty crap at the moment, but at the end of the day, he's still got to come up with the goods, and I think he has lost that yard of pace. And for whatever reason, Vieira still likes to persist on playing him as a striker. If we get him on 200k and we don't buy another striker, so we're basically paying 200k a year, sorry, 200k a week for a striker who is not very good in that role. Yeah, he has the odd good game, but that's it. I don't think he's worth that. When you see a player like, I looked at I used Capology for my for my wages, and apparently it's like reference and stuff like that. So it's the most legit one that I know of anyway. For example, Heung-min Son is on 190 a week. Rashford is on 200. Kane is on 200. Like, there would literally only be 20 players in the league who would be paid more than Wilfried Zaha. Is he worth that? I don't think so. As much as I love the guy, like, I absolutely love the guy. Like, he's my favourite. He's in my top 2 favourite players of all time. Like I absolutely love the guy and I don't want him to leave, but you got to look at it like that at the end of the day. And I think we have paid big wages to art players in the past, like, for example, Mamadou Sakho, who was quality for a while, but once you kind of hit that age, like, Wilf gets an injury, I know he's superhuman, but what if he's out injured for like a couple of months? What happens then? We're paying 200 grand a week for someone to sit on the bench. I'm not saying that he would, and yes, you could say that about other players, but he's getting older, it becomes more likely. Also, the third and final angle I think to look at it is take the whole Palace thing out of it. Like, think about Wilf himself. Like, I don't actually think he'll take the payday to go to one of these clubs. I don't think he will. I think if the offer is on the table from a team that plays in a European competition, whether that's the Europa League, Champions League, or even the Conference League, I think he would take that over one of these clubs. And on a personal level, I want him to go off and do what he's wanted to fulfill for a long time. Like, he's done enough for us. Do you know what I mean? And I think for him, seeing him do that would actually make me quite proud if he did go on to win something.
Yeah, like, a bit like how I felt when I saw Wan-Bissaka lift that FA Cup trophy. You felt proud to be a Palace fan.
Exactly.
He came through the academy and he smashed it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know, for me, and obviously, yeah, you're right. You know, seeing Wan-Bissaka lift the Carabao Cup was just like, wow, one of our own. You know, as lifted up a trophy, it was amazing. I think personally, there's so many angles to this, but I think it will be club suicide to pay him this much. And the reason being, it's not because I don't want him to stay, but when we then go out to buy other players, immediately they're going to think, Zaha's on this. So all of a sudden, like, the meter and the barometer we've got to work with changes, you know, because players are not silly. Like, football's a short career, and like, they're going to want to get the best contracts possible. So let's just say if we were to get an absolute talented player, like, obviously we'll randomly link with Giroud. Let's just hypothetically say Giroud. If Zaha's on 200k, Giroud's going to want close to that if he's not already on that or beyond. So that's the kind of knock-on effect I think it will have on us as a club. Also, you can have the argument as to say, right, what's that, 20 million over 2 years? That's another player who we can have for 5 years. You know, not only that, obviously Wolf, I think his legs will go in. You know, I'd love him to stay, but if he was to start, I don't know what happened. But if he was to stay and say, listen, I'll keep the same salary, then happy days. But obviously he's got to think about his long-term future as well. But the biggest factor I feel for me, he needs to go forget European football. You know, or at least to a team that's in a European competition, doesn't necessarily be like Champions League or whatever. But I think he's earned that. You know, it would have happened obviously with Man United, and if things went a bit better over there. You know, and he didn't throw his toys up the pram. He came back, like, he was humble enough to come back home. You know, he could have easily been like, I'm not going back to Paris. I could go to Chelsea or whatever. Like, obviously the years have rolled by. We've kind of priced him out of the move somewhat over the years. But yeah, I think that's an AC Milan even. You know, they look like they're doing all right in Serie A. Rafael Leao looks like, I reckon he'll be gone. You know, so he could be a decent replacement for the likes of Rafael Leao in the Milan side. So it's kind of like, if he stays, brilliant. If he goes, I wish him all the best. But I couldn't see us 200k is a lot of money. and such. And obviously, like with these two Saudi teams that win him, obviously they're looking to do what like the MLS did, you know, just try to get as big enough names as possible to over there to Saudi Arabia, grow their brand and stuff, and obviously endless funds. I mean, if they wanted to do a swap deal with the Saudi owner, then yeah, you know what, off you go. Let's get an owner in and such. Obviously, that would then bring political arguments and stuff, but yeah, I don't see him going to Al-Ittihad, even if, and not only that, like Santo is probably one of the most defense-minded coaches out there. Like, I don't think he'll have any joy playing under a manager like him. Guess we just have to wait and see. If we were to chuck a team out there, so I reckon it'd be AC Milan. I think, JC, you mentioned Leon, didn't you?
I was talking about that off before we went and started recording. I say it would be quite cool to see him go to maybe someone like Leon, stay in that Crystal Palace bubble. I know that it's a texture bubble, but it's still he'll still kind of be related to us in some sort of way, shape or form. But if he was gonna go anywhere, I'd want him to go to somewhere like, I think PSG, they wanted him last year, didn't they? I think they got rid of Di Maria. Neymar's out for a hell of a long time. So, Zaha, Mbappe, and Messi up front. Well, that's sauce. That's nice.
Right, if I was to see that, I'm like, yo, he's made out the hood.
I'll buy a PSG shirt if Zaha goes PSG.
Yeah,
that's a shot.
I'm not gonna lie. I think I would be tempted to get wherever as long as it's a non-English team, wherever he goes to, I think I'll be tempted to buy a shirt with his name on the back.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Well, what club do you think he'll end up at then, or would you like to see him at?
I've heard. I've got two in mind, and again, there's no like back into this at all. It's just I reckon, assuming like just say stays at Roma. I think like a team like Roma. I think he would do really well again under Mourinho, because I think Mourinho's a fan of him as well. Or the alternative, I did see someone say on Twitter about perhaps the idea of him going to a French team. I think, yeah, if he went to like Rennes or somewhere like that, I reckon that wouldn't be a bad shout, because obviously he already speaks French. If he lives in France, it ain't too far to come back to London to come see his family and that. So I think those two options, I partially selfish, but also partially like I thought they made the most sense.
Yeah, fair dues. And no one expects him to go Saudi?
No.
I can't see it. I can't see it. I don't think
something outrageous like 500 or 400, and I don't see it happening.
Yeah, no, I agree. I can't see him just going for a final payday. Plus, he is only 30, so I think he's still got a few more years left in him.
Definitely.
Cool. All right, final question. Listen, we've kind of all given a pros and cons to it and stuff. But if you were the owner of the club and you had the decision to say yes, give him 200k, or no, you can leave with our wishes, what's your final decision? Dan, I see JC's thinking stuff.
I'm only thinking if is it 200 after add-ons or just 200 flat?
Let's go back to what the article says. It says.
So I think it said it was inclusive of everything, but it didn't say what the base would be, would it?
Should we just go 200 flat? And that makes it easier.
Inclusive of bonuses and other payments. So I'm assuming that's going to be like image rights,
goal bonus.
Well.
I think let's just do it 200 flat, and it makes it easier for us.
Am I first? No, I would just, I would. No, I just offer. I'd offer him maybe slightly more. I'd just say no, to be honest, because, like I said, like I love the guy. Don't get me wrong. Like I actually feel quite sad saying this. Like yeah.
So as you said,
I mean,
it, you paused like, am I going to change my mind?
yeah, like I love the guy, but at the end of the day, you gotta think with your head a little bit, head over heart, sadly, and I think, yeah, I think it's just too much. It's just too much.
You see,
I really want to say, why not? Just do it. But as we all spoke about, it's a lot of money, and when trying to, we've had a big problem with trying to get the wage bill down. So why would we go ahead and just slap a 200 grand a week contract out there? We've gotten rid of Benteke 150, Sacco 100. We have spent lots of good time and effort getting it down. Why would we want to bring it up for Zaha? But it's something that I would love to do, but it would be financial suicide for us in the future, because everyone that we get in the future is going to want double the money that they're getting now. So reluctantly, I have to say, we need to give him our wishes and help him get whatever move he wants.
yeah, I'm the same. Obviously, it'd be sad to see him go, but we obviously will send him. He'll be going with our blessing as well. But yeah, I think there'll just be a massive knock-on effect. With the players or other minion, I think it will cause chaos, to be honest. You know,
Yeah.
And we're already struggling as it is. So I don't know what else to like. Obviously, cripple ourselves even more, especially in this market. So, yeah. I guess that's it, really. There's not much else to cover with this news.
Yeah.
No. In the comment section, your thoughts. Would you keep Zaha offering 200k, or would you let him go? Obviously, with your best wishes, or even better still, what's the most you would offer him to stay? What's the most you would offer him to stay? But yeah, Dan, JC, pleasure as always. Busy week, obviously. We've got the Bright preview tomorrow, as well as the Premier League review. I think it's tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
And then other stuff we're still trying to sort out the week. It is crazy, but yeah, 2 massive games this week. Wednesday, why? It could be the final nail in the coffin. We have to wait and see. But yeah, other than that, appreciate you all. Like, share, subscribe. And as always, up the palace.
Ego.